don't need a new camera, and I'll tell you why. The allure of a shiny new camera can be strong, but there are common misconceptions among cinematographers when it comes to upgrading gear. One mistake is thinking that a new camera automatically equals better content, but in reality, mastering your current equipment often leads to more impactful results than constantly chasing the latest tech. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Theo. I'm a DP and cinematographer based in Abuja and Lagos, Nigeria. This channel, like always, brings you cinematography tips on how to be a better filmmaker/videographer. So if you're interested in improving artistic talent and creativity as a filmmaker, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on our future videos. Okay, let's jump right into it. First and foremost, I must say that this is a very sensitive subject, and it will shock you that most professionals would probably not agree with me on this. But still, I have to get it out there because it's my truth. And I believe this video will help a lot of young filmmakers out there who has been held back by this false perception that the latest camera and gear is everything. In the fast evolving world of filmmaking technology, cameras are popping up every single day. So it's easy to get swept up in the frenzy of new camera features. That's a common excuse most filmmakers make to spend loads of money on the latest gear. However, the essence of filmmaking lies in storytelling rather than drowning in a sea of camera features. Eventually, at the end of the day, you don't need those unnecessary new features. I call them unnecessary because 99% of the time you don't get to use them, and I'll prove that to you. I've owned the Sony a7 III for a while now, and there are tons of features I've never considered looking into talk less of trying them out. I simply go for the basics, the XAVC 4K at 30 or 25 frames per second at 100 megabits, shutter frame at 160th or 150th, determined by my frame rate. My aperture is determined by the effect I want to achieve. A wider aperture to capture less depth of field and letting more light to hit the camera sensor to increase my exposure, or a smaller aperture for deeper depth of field and to reduce the exposure. It could be subjective or calculative. I adjust my ISO according to the lighting condition I find myself in, putting in mind I don't bump up my ISO to the point where I'm packing grains. The Sony a7 III comes with 10 different picture profile, and I only get to use just 3, S-Log2, S-Log3, and 98% of the time I use the HLG picture profile. The autofocus is a maybe depending on what I'm shooting, color temperature at 56 or 3200K. When I need to shoot a super slow motion, I quickly adjust the camera to XAVC HD at 120 frames per second, shutter speed at 1/250th, doubling the frame rate, and every other thing remains the same. That's about it. So what happens to the other camera features in the camera? I don't get to use them, and so do most of my friends. Another pitfall is overlooking the importance of lenses, lighting, and composition. These elements play a significant role in cinematography, and sometimes investing in this aspect can make a more noticeable difference. These camera companies with their well-crafted commercials will make you believe that you can never get creative without their latest gear. I started my photography and film journey with the Canon Rebel T3i, also called the EOX 600D, and 18 megapixel, a CMOS sensor camera which was introduced in 2011. It comes with a kit lens of 18 to 55mm f4 when you purchase. These kit lenses are generally inexpensive, priced at the lowest end of the manufacturer's range. They are simply part of the camera's kit to allow you get shooting straight away and to also let you get to know your camera menu when taking photographs. So they are simply for amateurs, and we all know at some point in time you're working towards professionalism. With my newly purchased camera, I was just so excited I couldn't wait to start trying it out, hoping to start getting stunning images like other photographers. To my disappointment, the images I was getting wasn't really satisfactory. It felt like a cheap terrible investment as at that time, till I switched from my kit lens to the affordable Canon 50mm f1.8, aka the Nifty 50, one of the cheapest lenses to buy from Canon. It was almost aimed at beginners as something professional. The 50mm improved my photography and videography drastically. The images I was getting with the 50mm, my Rebel T3i, boosted my confidence. Eventually, I bought a speed light for my Rebel T3i. The first picture I took with my camera, the 50mm f1.8, and my new speed light was phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal!
I couldn't believe my eyes. I was getting better images than most photographers and videographers with superior cameras like the 5D Mark III. Next, I developed my retouching skills in portrait with Photoshop and Camera Raw. mastered the art of frequency separation, dodge and burn, and came up with my own style of color grading my images. Right before my very eye, the impossible became possible. I was finally able to decipher how the great photographers did it. The images I took with this cheap camera combined with a speed light and inexpensive 50mm prime lens changed my life for good. As videographers with the Rebel T3i, there was no low picture profile. All we got were auto, standard, portrait, landscape, neutral, faithful and monochrome picture profile. There was a user-defined 1, 2, and 3 for saving our customized picture profile, and they weren't creative in any way. So we had to shoot with a standard picture profile, a general purpose picture style suitable for most scenes. Then we would desaturate our colors to enable us get creative in post. Then Andrew Kramer of Video Copilot came up with a flat third-party picture profile we could install in our very cheap cameras, more like plugins, to get creative with our color grading, and there was a massive improvement. The belief that the new camera system would magically improve your skills is a myth. Skills development comes from practice, experimentation, and learning from your mistakes. Upgrading gear won't substitute for perfecting your craft. You need to push your camera to the limit and be sure it has given you all it has to give, and that would probably take you a decade. Till we get cameras that start shooting dollar bills, every camera remains relevant to me in 2024. The financial aspect can be ignored. Instead of splurging on a new camera, consider investing in education, workshops, or projects that will allow you to grow as a cinematographer. It's not just about the gear, it's about how you use it. So before jumping into the next camera purchase, take a step back, evaluate your current setup, and focus on refining your skills and creative approach. For photographers, at the end of the day, it's the output that matters. You don't go around showing the potential client the cameras you shot with, but your final production, because most of the time, they don't really know or care much about your camera system. They just need you to make them look good like you did with their friends or relative. After all, that is why they're hiring you. And while technology continues to advance, filmmakers should remain grounded in the art of storytelling. Selecting a camera based on the need of the narrative, budget constraints, and practicality can lead to a more fulfilling creative process. Camera features are just tools, not the essence of filmmaking. Know they're making this video lengthier than it already is. Just remember, it's a story that stays with the audience long after the credit rolls. So invest in your creative process. Go out there and make that unforgettable masterpiece. Peace.